Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are looking at a truly revolutionary framework in the world of AI. We're going to break down the Codatta protocol. You see, right now, the AI industry is sitting on a massive, multi-billion-dollar problem. The data powering these incredible AI models, it's just incredibly disorganized. It's scattered, it's messy, and honestly, the worst part is that the people actually putting in the sweat equity to organize it rarely see the long-term value of what they create. So today, we are going to explore a framework that completely flips that script. We're talking about taking messy, untrackable data and transforming it into owned, profitable, and fully traceable assets.
Think about this for a second. The vast majority of human effort in AI training just gets lost in these anonymous massive files. How on earth do we fix this messy, untrackable data? Let's say you tag an image, or you translate a complex sentence, or maybe you correct an AI's hallucination. That brilliant piece of work usually gets dumped into a giant, anonymous spreadsheet or database. And once it's in there, it is nearly impossible to track. It's super hard to share effectively, and it's literally impossible to accurately value. Your connection to your own work is completely severed. Well, this explainer is all about Codatta's specific solution to this exact problem, and why this new problem-solving framework matters immensely to you, or really anyone involved in creating or managing AI data today.
Okay, let's dive into this and lay out our roadmap for how we're going to build this solution together, right from the ground up. First, we'll look at the Codatta data model. Second, we'll go from atoms to assets. Third, we'll look at real-world data scenarios. And finally, we'll wrap up with the blockchain advantage.
Part 1. The Codatta data model. This is where we look at the ultimate structural fix to the industry's tracking issues.
Here we have a crystal clear comparison between the old paradigm and the new. On the left, traditional labeling. As we just talked about, this produces static files. They sit on hard drives. Well, actually, they kind of go to die on hard drives. They're hard to track and offer zero transparency. But now look at the right side. Assetification. This is the absolute core of Codatta's approach. Assetification takes that exact same human effort and turns it into an on-chain object, basically a secure, living digital record. This means the data now has provenance, a verifiable history of exactly where it came from, along with programmable rights. It literally transforms a dead static file into a living, working asset. So, how does this actually work in practice? Codatta uses a three-step hierarchy: atomic contribution, data asset, and dataset. I absolutely love thinking about this using a digital Lego analogy. The atomic contribution, that's your single individual Lego brick. It's the smallest possible piece. Then, the data asset is when you snap a few of those specific bricks together to build something useful, like a little Lego car. And the dataset, that's the entire sprawling Lego city you construct by bringing thousands of those cars and buildings together.
Moving on to section 2, from atoms to assets. Let's zoom way into the micro level and literally build this concept upward.
At the very base level, the absolute foundation, we have the atomic contribution. By definition, this is exactly one unit of work produced by a human or an AI agent. It represents the most microscopic, basic building block of AI data. If you are annotating data, every single distinct, purposeful action you take creates one of these atoms.
But what exactly is inside that atom? We can break an atomic contribution down into 3 vital slices. First up is the sample. This is the raw observation, like an unedited photograph or a raw block of text. Second is the label. This is the human or agent-specific interpretation of that sample. For example, explicitly tagging that photograph as containing a stop sign. And third is validation. This is the quality or evidence decision, where someone else steps in and verifies, yep, that is indeed a stop sign. Those 3 pieces locked together make up one single atomic contribution.
Now, you might be wondering, how on earth do we keep track of millions or even billions of these individual atoms? Every single atomic contribution is assigned what Codatta calls a contribution fingerprint. This is a tamper-evident identifier. It combines a cryptographic hash, which is essentially an unbreakable digital signature, along with metadata and links back to parent data. This fingerprint is a real game changer because it makes every single contribution highly discoverable, completely deduplicable, and fully auditable. You literally cannot lose it, and you absolutely cannot fake it. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the core promise this fingerprint provides. It proves who did what, when, to which payload. I really want you to let that rhythm sink in. Who did what, when, to which payload. That rhythmic guarantee is the core promise of the protocol. It completely eliminates the shady anonymity of traditional data labeling and ensures total uncompromising accountability. Stepping up one level from that single atom, we reach the data asset. This is a composite minimal commercial unit that aggregates the atomic contributions that naturally belong together. So that's the image, plus its accepted labels, plus the validations all bundled up. This is where the financial incentives come into play for you. Ownership and licensing are enforced right here at the asset level. Imagine if your brilliant interpretation of an image earned you royalties every single time an AI used it for training. No way, right? But by making this the commercial unit, Codatta actually makes that a reality. The final step in this structural hierarchy is the dataset. This is a carefully curated selection or a specific view of multiple data assets grouped together for a particular AI model or industry vertical. Crucially, the dataset automatically inherits all the ownership, all the licensing, and all the lineage from those underlying assets. Here is why you should care about this. This is the exact level where buyers actually consume data. Huge AI teams buy entire datasets, but because of Codatta's brilliant structure, the royalties flow right through the dataset down to the individual assets and directly back into the pockets of the atomic contributors. Section 3, Real-World Data Scenarios. Let's take this out of the abstract and follow a single piece of data as it travels through the wild. So, an absolutely crucial point to understand is that data isn't one size fits all. In scenario A, we have one raw sample, but multiple label sets. Let's say you have a raw image of an incredibly busy city street. One AI team labels the cars for their autonomous driving software. Another AI team comes along and labels the storefronts for a mapping app. Bundling that one raw sample with those very different labels creates two entirely distinct assets. The exact same raw observation can power completely different AI products just by bundling different interpretations. And yes, each bundle carries its own unique royalties and license terms. In scenario B, things get a bit more complex with a cross-sample composite. Many modern AI tasks require complex relationships across multiple samples. Think about a multi-turn chatbot dialogue or a complex multi-angle video segment. Codatta flawlessly supports combining multiple raw samples into a brand new composite asset for a new task. And the magic here? It does this while strictly keeping the derivation links perfectly intact, making sure that proper attribution and payouts are maintained for every single original piece used to build that new composite. Scenario C introduces label on label, or what we call meta-labeling. This is basically annotating the annotators. You see, you don't just have to annotate raw data, you can actually evaluate other people's interpretations. Imagine leaving an evaluator note, a rubric score, or a confidence judgment on an existing label. The downstream label targets the upstream label. When that highly refined data is finally used, the system securely routes the revenue back down the lineage chain, propagating royalties to both the new meta-labeler and the original labeler. Everyone gets their fair slice of the pie. Finally, Section 4, the blockchain advantage. Let's pull back the curtain and reveal the technological engine that securely enforces all these incredible rules and payouts. That engine, of course, is blockchain technology. Assetification relies on blockchain to provide massive, fundamental upgrades over traditional files. It starts with provenance, and this perfectly ties back to our fingerprint motif, right? It's there to prove exactly who did what, when, to which payload. Then we have ownership, which is achieved through fractional tokens on data assets, so multiple contributors can actually share the revenue seamlessly. Beyond that, there's licensing and metering, using policy-gated access to automatically drive those complex royalty routings. And lastly, privacy by design ensures that secure compute environments allow models to train on data without ever exposing your raw content to the public. And this brilliantly illustrates what blockchain fundamentally adds to the AI data ecosystem. It adds trust minimization through a transparent, public, append-only record of every single contribution and usage event. It adds composability, meaning these assets can be queried, bundled, and relicensed across different apps without ever losing their precious lineage. But most importantly, it adds incentives. Contributors and validators actually earn real value when assets are used, perfectly aligning the high quality of their work with long-term financial payoff. We've covered a ton of ground today, looking at how Codatta transforms the very atomic structure of AI data from forgotten, messy files into powerful, traceable digital assets. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we close out today's explainer. As we move rapidly into an AI-driven future, will your hard work and your data be just a static file sitting on a forgotten server, or will it be a living, breathing, royalty-generating asset? The choice is starting to become crystal clear. Keep learning,
Keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next explainer.